Jeff Okudah from Ohio State. He's played lockdown defense.
He's a special corner. He's physical. He knows where to go with his eyes. I think he's a complete cornerback. You don't see many of those guys coming out of the college level.
You know, Mike Jeffrey Okudah, he's the best player in the draft that really nobody's talking about with his elite athleticism, his length, his versatility.
I feel like in my second year playing here, they really changed the way I played, the way I approach things. Iron sharpened iron at Ohio State, and I feel like I've grown throughout the season because of them.
I can't believe he ended up becoming a bust. I'm shocked. I mean, I really think it was just wrong place, wrong time. I think that if Okudah got drafted a year later to us in this regime, we would have made it work.
At Ohio State, they didn't even throw the ball his way anymore. Quarterbacks looked at the man lined up across from them and just decided it wasn't worth the risk. In 2019, Jeff Okudah was the most feared cornerback in all of college football. He became the first corner in Ohio State history to be named a unanimous All-American, a program that pumped out NFL defensive backs for decades, and none of them had ever done what this kid did. Scouts called him a generational talent, the safest pick in the entire class.
You got Marshawn Lattimore, Malik Hooker. Those guys were really high in terms of grades. I think Okudah is as good, if not better, than all of them.
So the Detroit Lions made him the third overall selection, the highest a cornerback had gone in 23 years. He was supposed to be the next great shutdown corner.
It's committed, it's intercepted. Okudah with the pick, and little one picks big one and takes it for a touchdown.
And yet, just 3 years later, that same player will be traded away for a lousy 5th-round pick.
According to ESPN's Field Yates and several other reports, the Falcons have acquired cornerback Jeff Okudah in a trade from the Detroit Lions. And per NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, the Falcons gave up just this year's 5th-round pick to get the number 3 overall selection back in 2020.
Bouncing from team to team, barely clinging to a roster spot. So how does a player go from the most dominant corner in college football to one of the biggest draft busts of the modern era? This is the rise and fall of Jeff Okudah. Jeffrey Chidera Okudah was born on February 2nd, 1999 in Grand Prairie, Texas, the son of Nigerian immigrants who came to America chasing a better life. And from a young age, it was clear this kid was different. He picked up a football at just 7 years old, and by the time he got to South Grand Prairie High School, he was already a problem for every offense that dared to line up across from him.
Just an all-out dominant performance from start to finish, almost having a shutout. We're having a defense shutout with the one, so that's something we can take into next week.
He wasn't just good, he was elite, the kind of athlete that made college recruiters lose sleep at night. By his senior year, he was rated a 5-star recruit, the #1 cornerback prospect in the entire country, and depending on who you asked, one of the top 10 players in the nation, period. Every powerhouse program in America wanted him. Texas, Alabama, LSU, they all came knocking. But there was only one school that felt right.
It's also been a blessing just to be able to get recruited by some of these schools. And it's coming to an end, and I'm ready to make an impact on the next level.
Why the decision to go to Columbus?
From when I got there, I was just comfortable with the coaching staff, the plan they set up for me. They put a lot of defensive backs in the NFL and the life outside of football. And they just had the whole 9 yards.
In January of 2017, Jeff Okudah committed to Ohio State and packed his bags for Columbus. But what should have been the happiest moment of his young life was about to collide with the worst. Because just 6 days after he arrived on campus, his mother Marie, the woman who raised him, the woman who came from Nigeria and built a life from nothing, lost her long battle with cancer. She had been fighting lymphoma for years, and she passed away with her family around her.
Most of my life, my mom was battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a serious type of cancer, and it affected her greatly. You can see it in her skin. She used to go to chemotherapy, take me to school, pick me back up, me and my sister. She was also a nurse. She went to work with a fresh mindset, and I never heard her complain at one time. She passed away a week after I got to Ohio State. Her story is just something that I could tell to my kids one day and then tell them about the perseverance and what it means to really be a true fighter.
Now here's where a lot of kids would have folded, and honestly, no one would have blamed him. But Jeff Okudah did the opposite. He took the most painful thing that ever happened to him and he turned it into fuel. He later said his coaches and teammates rallied around him, The whole school checked in on him, carried him through the grief, and slowly, he started to channel that pain onto the field. As a true freshman in 2017, he played in all 14 games, learning the system, finding his footing. Then, as a sophomore in 2018, he took another step forward. More snaps, more tackles, more confidence. You could see it building. And then came 2019, the season that made him a legend in Columbus. That year, Jeff Okudah wasn't just good, he was untouchable. Quarterback straight up refused to throw in his direction. He recorded 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, 34 tackles, and locked down the best receivers the Big Ten had to offer. When he snagged his first career interception against Miami of Ohio, he pointed to the sky, because every big play was for her. By the end of the season, the honors came pouring in. He was named a unanimous All-American, the first cornerback in Ohio State history to ever earn that distinction. Think about that. A program that produced NFL corners like Sean Springs, Antoine Winfield, Malcolm Jenkins, and Bradley Roby, and none of them ever did what Jeff Okudah did. He was also a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award, given to the best defensive back in all of college football. He had done it. He had turned tragedy into greatness.
I think if she was here right now, and she'd feel like she's around the same son that she was with when she left.
And now, the NFL was calling. On New Year's Day of 2020, he announced he was going pro. And before the draft, he wrote a heartbreaking letter to his late mother, telling her they had chosen the right school after all. Scouts saw a shutdown corner with perfect size, elite speed, and the mental toughness of someone who had already survived the worst life could throw at him.
And Jeff Okudah backs down from nobody. He's big enough to play the big guys, and he's fast enough and quick enough to play the small guys.
What was your biggest focus coming into Indy?
Footwork. I wanted to show the world that how good my footwork was. And even though my day got cut short, I think that I did a really good job of that.
He was the total package. And when draft night arrived, the Detroit Lions didn't hesitate.
With the 3rd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jeff Okudah, defensive back, Ohio State.
The cornerback goes off the board. Here's what's really interesting. The top 3 picks in this draft at one time or another all played at Ohio State University. He was the #1 cornerback in the ESPN class of 2017.
3rd overall pick, Jeff Okudah, the highest a cornerback had been drafted since 1997. The future was his.
And this is where the story turns, because the NFL doesn't care about your college tape. It doesn't care about your story. It only cares about what you do next. And for Jeff Okudah, what came next was a nightmare. His rookie season in 2020 started rough. He was thrown into the fire on a bad Lions team, getting picked on by veteran receivers. He struggled with the speed of the pro game, the transition every rookie corner faces, but his was playing out in front of everyone. He was supposed to be a shutdown corner, and instead, he was getting torched. It happens. Plenty of great corners have rough rookie years. The talent was still there, he just needed time. But time was exactly what he wasn't going to get. Because in 2021, just 1 game into his 2nd season, disaster struck. Okudah ruptured his Achilles tendon, one of the most devastating injuries a defensive back can suffer. His season was over just like that. And for a player whose entire game was built on speed and explosiveness, an Achilles tear is the kind of thing that can quietly end a career before it ever really starts. He fought his way back, and in 2022, he actually showed some signs of life.
The physical side of everything he's doing is good. I mean, he looks good. He's come back. Like, we have no concern about the Achilles. You know, physically, he looks great. He needs reps. He needs reps. He needs to play. I mean, that's the thing that we can never lose sight of. I mean, he's going into year 3, and he really hasn't played. I mean, he just hasn't had significant playing time, so he just needs reps.
He started 15 games, set career highs with 73 tackles, and even returned an interception for a touchdown against the Bears. It wasn't dominant, it wasn't All-American Jeff Okudah, but it was something, a pulse, a reason to believe. The Lions didn't see it that way. In April of 2023, just 3 years after making him the 3rd overall pick, Detroit gave up on him completely. They traded him to the Atlanta Falcons, and the price tag told you everything. A 5th round pick, that's it. A former top 3 selection dealt for the kind of pick teams use on special teams, gambles. The message was loud and clear. The Lions were done waiting. In Atlanta, he was just another guy. He started 9 of 13 games, played out the final year of his rookie deal, and then hit free agency. And this is where a former number 3 overall pick is supposed to cash in. Instead, the market barely blinked. In 2024, he signed a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans, and there, he faded even further into the background, appearing in just 6 games, battling injuries again, barely making a dent. Then it was on to the Minnesota Vikings in 2025. Another 1-year deal, another fresh start, except the injuries kept coming. He landed on injured reserve, and by March of 2026, he was a free agent all over again. So how did this happen? How does a player this talented, this driven, this proven fall this far? The truth is, it wasn't one single thing. It was a collection of them. The injuries were brutal. That Achilles tear in year 2 robbed him of the explosiveness that made him special, right when he needed it most. He was drafted onto a rebuilding Lions team with a shaky defense that gave him almost no margin for error as a rookie. And the expectations that came with being the 3rd overall pick and a unanimous All-American meant that anything less than greatness was going to be labeled a failure. But maybe the hardest part of Jeff Okudah's story is that it was never about effort or character. This wasn't a guy who partied away his talent or gave up on the game. This was a young man who lost his mother days into college, who carried that pain and still became the best cornerback in the country, who fought back from an Achilles tear that ends careers. He did the work. He just ran head first into the cruelest part of professional sports. Sometimes you can do everything right and it still doesn't work out. He was the highest drafted corner in over 2 decades, a kid who turned unimaginable grief into greatness. And if his body had just held together, we might be telling a completely different story. So was Jeff Okudah the most disappointing number 3 overall pick ever? The stats might say yes, but the story says something a whole lot more complicated.